The UK car market is collapsing, and I believe that China could be the real reason behind it.
In just a few years, China has begun transforming the global car market. It recently produced the Yanguang U9, a world record-breaking hypercar that hit 308 miles per hour, pushing the boundaries of both speed and engineering. And at the same time, Chinese manufacturers have been redefining high-end luxury, combining cutting-edge technology, opulent interiors and innovative features in ways that challenge the traditional European car makers. And now, in the UK, we are seeing Chinese cars making some serious noise in the market, offering affordable alternatives that massively undercut their European competitors when it comes to price.
This major shake-up is causing big problems for the European competitors.
Sales are decreasing and car prices in the UK are falling, all the way from brand new showroom cars down to £3,000 cheap used cars. The domino effect is huge and it's causing major manufacturers to see their share prices tumble. They simply cannot compete with China when it comes to price.
But what does this all mean for the average consumer just like us?
Well, it could mean that the BMW, Volkswagen or Ford you were thinking about buying might end up being something Chinese now, and probably much cheaper too. I feel that the major shift we are seeing is just a scratch on the surface. I think there's major market disruptions still heading our way, and we are yet to see the full force of China's vision.
Could the future of car buying change and become a subscription model, replacing the traditional car finance and ownership?
It wouldn't be a simple task, but it is a possibility. We all know that the subscription model is a proven business across different industries. The potential for a monopoly can be astronomical. But could this be a way for China to take over the worldwide car market and put those established manufacturers out of business? Well, in today's video, we are going to find out exactly what is going on and what all of this means for us and the car market in the UK.
So, let's start with, why is the UK car market on a decline? Well, there's some obvious reasons which I'm sure many of you are aware of. Cost of living is very, very high. Unemployment is also increasing. Interest rates, they're still high. And more recently, the big one, there is a lot of uncertainty with the government in this country. The lack of confidence in a government leads to people not spending their money. And all of these reasons which I'm mentioning, which most of us know about, they're all valid reasons why a car market would start to decline. But I think we can go a bit deeper than that, and that's where this video becomes the topic. We're looking into China and the impact it's having on those manufacturers. There was a statistic that I came across on a video the other day. A salesman who used to work at Skoda, or the VAG group as many of you will know. The salesman mentioned that in the last 3 months he had sold 4 brand new Skodas. 4 brand new cars in 3 months.
That is shocking to hear and quite concerning to think that a major manufacturer, which is part of the VAG group, is struggling to compete in this market. I mean, how long can they survive like this?
But if you look at the share price of the VAG group, you can see since COVID, it's been on a tumble. It really has fallen. And I know some of you will be thinking right now that, the share price has just increased during that bubble in 2020. That's not the case, because if you look at many other manufacturers, which I'm going to touch on later, you'll see the trends very different when it comes to the share price. But why are those share prices falling? And why is it affecting the market? What seems to be going on is that China is producing a number of new cars that are coming to the UK market. We're seeing BYD, Jaecoo, Omoda, all of these new electric hybrid cars which are coming to the market in the UK and undercutting competitors massively on price.
Let's take a look at the Jaecoo J7. Prices start at £30,000 for a base model, but if you wanted all of the toys, a top spec car would set you back £35,000. This is a car which is meant to be the equivalent of a Range Rover Evoque, making it a direct competitor. It even looks a little bit similar. Now if we have a look at the price of a Range Rover Evoque, a base model starts at £44,000 and the highest spec comes in at a whopping £58,000. That makes the Jaecoo seem like a bargain with a difference of up to £23,000. That is massive. And even if you're looking at one of the most basic entry-level models that China has brought over to the UK, which is the Omoda 5, you can pick up this brand new car for just £23,000. A car which includes a 7-year warranty and up to 100,000 miles.
On paper, this seems like a no-brainer. What can you buy in this day and age in terms of a good quality brand new car for £23,000 that's going to give you the peace of mind of 7-year warranty and 100,000 miles?
Now if we take a look at the more expensive models such as the Omoda C9, This is a car which is going to be priced at around £45,000. It is a much more premium car, and honestly, the interior on this car looks fantastic. I'm not saying it's the prettiest car overall, and maybe this is starting to get into the higher price bracket, but the real selling point of these cars is that the 1.5 petrol turbocharged engine is capable of doing 700 miles on one tank of fuel. Combine this with its electric motor, which alone gives you a battery range of 93 miles.
So if you're driving locally, commuting to work, in theory, you could rely on just an electric motor for getting you around town. These cars really are ticking a lot of boxes. And as the popularity for these cars and models start to increase, well, naturally, we're going to see the decline for the European competitors. And as a result of that, manufacturers are going to have to take drastic measures for them to compete in this very competitive market, especially with EVs. And we're seeing this even with the likes of Porsche with the Taycan. People have been getting huge discounts off a brand new car. I'm talking multiple tens of thousands discounted off a brand new car. Now, when brand new cars aren't selling, you tend to see huge finance contributions offered by the dealers. You may even see crazy cheap lease deals starting to hit the market. This is also manufacturers can push those new cars onto the road.
This is the first sign of when dealers are struggling to sell new cars. The problem that this then causes is that used cars would also follow suit and fall in price due to the demand decreasing. Let me explain.
If you're being offered a brand new car and the monthly payments are lower than a used one, why would anyone buy the older car?
Here are some examples of how financing a brand new car can actually be cheaper than a used one. And these big discounts and cheap deals we see causes a domino effect. Everything always starts from new cars. Even the sub £5,000 used car market can be affected. An example of this is when I've seen cheap lease deals on brand new cars. I'm talking less than £150 a month, which makes having a new car look a lot more affordable. I mean, why would anyone want to buy a 20-year-old car which could be problematic when instead you can have a new car with comprehensive warranty, no risk of unexpected repairs, probably better on fuel and cheaper road tax, all for a sensible monthly price. However, this all comes at the expense of impacting the used car market. And now with the government pushing for combustion engine production to end, China has seen a massive opportunity and is trying to capitalise on this by undercutting its competitors to really cement its name in the UK with its EV and hybrid cars. So when the transition does happen, manufacturers like Jaecoo, Omoda and the others, they could become household names in the UK.
Now, each sector in the car market will react differently to China. Some better than others, and some, well, we are starting to see the problems already. The sector which I don't think which will be drastically affected immediately are supercars and ultra luxury, like Rolls-Royce.
This is because brands like Ferrari and Rolls-Royce are seen as a status symbol. For many people, it's a milestone in their life and a display of an achievement. These cars also display character. They carry a lot of brand heritage and create theatre when behind the wheel. This is something which China hasn't quite matched in my opinion, even though they did make a competitor which quite frankly is more stable than any car I've ever seen. Rolls-Royce is a Rolls-Royce, a market where new car sales doesn't seem to be slowing down, nor does the customer seem concerned about the money, as we all know spending £500,000 isn't out of the ordinary. But new car sales are doing well, and ultimately that is what would contribute to the company's profit and success. So in my opinion, the Chinese cars currently lack the flair and drama that we see from the high-end European cars, but who knows what the future holds and what we will see come from China.
However, there is a massive market which I do believe is going to be affected. Pretty much most other cars, BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen, Ford, Kia. And why? Well, as times are hard and people are struggling to pay bills, customers care about value for money and ultimately the price.
Not only are these new Chinese cars much more competitively priced, the warranty offered on these cars is above and beyond. It's not unheard of, as I know brands like Kia have been doing this from before, but value for money and the overall technology which is packed into some of these models really does make the European cars seem a bit expensive. And all for what? A badge? As we head into the future, I really do think that the badge on the car won't hold the same weight as in previous decades. It is more about the technology, reliability, and ultimately the cost. And this is where I think those European competitors are going to struggle to compete with China.
Now, let's look at those major claims and conspiracy theories about China, TikTok, and how that marketing strategy is affecting those cars when they come to the market.
There's been loads of talk about China lately, from TikTok being Chinese owned and collecting data to new Chinese cars landing in the UK, and people are worried about spying and tech control. But here's the twist. TikTok, the same app that everyone's talking about, seems to be helping sell these cars. It's one of the most powerful marketing tools in the world at the moment, especially for reaching the younger buyers who love innovation and value. So while some people see controversy, smart brands can see opportunity. Using TikTok to build hype shows transparency and can turn that curiosity into trust, views, and ultimately sales. And speaking of sales, the staff in some of these UK dealerships have already confirmed that they are very busy and many customers have inquired and purchased these Chinese cars through seeing them on TikTok. It's a crazy world we live in now, and it really does just show the power of social media.
Now let's look at one of the big problems that everyone seems to be talking about with EVs. What is going to happen to these cars as the batteries get old? And ultimately, what is this going to mean for people that need to buy a cheap used car in the future? Long term, I think we might even see a new business model. The reason being, we already have concerns for cars with older batteries. Today, if you need a cheap car for £1,000, you can go and buy a petrol or diesel car. It'll get you from A to B. It may not be the most glamorous, but it's functional. But as these new expensive electric cars get old, the replacement of the battery can make it uneconomical to repair the car. So what will everyone do? Go and buy brand new cars? No, it's not realistic. So to make things attainable for everyone, I have this feeling that China is going to introduce something which I think would be a subscription model for driving cars. A way in that the majority of us will have access to these cars. A little bit like a lease, but the difference being the cars would have to be refurbished. So as cars get old, they will be old, but they may have a new battery and other components to make them like new again. But this of course will be a big challenge. Manufacturers will need to find innovative solutions to refurbish a car and package it into another subscription. Almost like an iPhone. They can strip it apart, replace what needs to be changed, refurbish it, and sell it again on a new contract. I know this might sound crazy and it is a long shot, but realistically, something will need to be done by manufacturers, because as these electric vehicles do get old, the cheap end of buying cars is going to be non-existent. And if that's the case, what is that going to mean for a lot of people who cannot afford to buy a newer car with the warranty? Something needs to be changed.
We are going through a major shift in the car world. Whether we become fully electric by 2030 or 2035 or even 2040 is still something we do not know. But we do have to embrace and accept that this is the future. The cars may lack character, but we live in a technology world now. Consumers are looking for functionality and value. But even though change can be difficult, it can be a good thing by making our lives easier. Maybe even too easy. My only concern is how long can these European manufacturers compete for? Unless major changes are made, it could mean curtains for many of these businesses. A good example I can share with you is the mobile phone brand, Nokia. We all had them once upon a time, right? But then the iPhone came out. It took over. And does anyone have a Nokia now? This is exactly my point.
And on that note, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Hit up that like button if you've enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to see plenty more content on the car market. Thanks again for watching. Take care, guys.